Hey, what's going on, everybody? Henry Johnson here from Digital Home, and I have Jaclyn Isaacs.
Hello.
Jaclyn, if you want to introduce yourself and your company before we get going.
Jaclyn Isaac, Downtown Decorators, interior designer in Hudson, Bergen County.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And guys, today we're going to be doing a profile of a sort on Jaclyn and Downtown Decorators. I just wanted to talk a little bit about her background in interior design, how she got into it, what she's doing today, and the future, and also just give you guys a better idea of how she differentiates herself against other interior designers and what to look out for. So to kind of get it kicked off, Jaclyn, why don't you just tell us a little bit about how you got into interior design?
Sure.
And go from there.
So I don't have a formal background in design, which I think sometimes you tell people that and they're like, what? So I fell into interior design via just a passion project. My husband and I bought a condo about 4 years ago and started construction and realized that designing and picking out finishes and things like that was something that was really interesting to me. So I started a blog. It was called Dog Lady Design Files.
Oh, wow, okay.
Not everybody knows about this. It's a little,
That's new to me.
it's a well-kept secret.
I'm Googling it after we get out.
Yeah, I think I took it down before this. But yeah, I started a blog, wanted to get more into the design field, kind of feel out, what the industry was about, what a job as an interior designer looked like, and connected with two designers in Bergen County. Was lucky enough to intern with them and just really discovered this as a passion. I was like, this is my, my calling. This is what I want to do. So I was working in advertising at the time, which actually is very similar because I think one of my strengths has always been project management and client management. That's kind of my formal background. And design just kind of came naturally in that, I'm creating a brand, I'm creating a story on the advertising side, I'm creating an interior story on the design side, and I'm still managing a project, I'm still managing timelines and budgets and things like that. So it was a nice way to kind of transfer skills over, yeah. So, yeah.
So when you think of where you came from with the interning to your first project, etc., how would you describe your design style?
Definitely classic interiors, but with a modern downtown edge.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in terms of design categories, what's your favorite? High-end residential, commercial? Where do you work, and what's your favorite to do?
I like everything. I think I'm too new to the industry to have a particular favorite yet. I'd say my favorite projects have definitely been boutique commercial stuff like offices, smaller developments, and then there has been some really cool high-end residential design work, but I kind of enjoy the whole aspect of it. So.
Well, tell us about that. What's been your favorite project? Can you give us a little rundown of it? How it came about, what you did, that kind of stuff?
Yes. I have a favorite project. So I do a lot of work with a real estate agency, Prime Real Estate in Hoboken.
Yeah.
I'm very good friends with the broker there, Jesse Halberton, and he kind of kickstarted my career. And one of the first bigger projects we worked on was an office space / event space in Jersey City Heights. So it was meant to be an art gallery, an event space, and an office space for about 50 real estate agents. So that was one of my first projects. So the biggest challenge for me was how am I doing this? But that client I think of him as a creative visionary. So he always has these massive ideas, and I'm kind of the dream killer where I have to be like, hey, I know you want a live dragon in the office, but we need to maybe we'll do a painting of a dragon. So yeah, that was my favorite project simply because I really got to be creative, and that it was a big challenge to think about how an office could translate to an event space at night, to translate to a gallery where you're going to have all this art on the walls. So I think it came together really nicely. We were able to do these really cool moving collapsible desks that kind of sit in the middle of the room but then collapse into cocktail tables, and you can move them around. They're on casters. We did all of this, all of the technology and all the plugs and everything actually go into the ceiling. So they kind of just like, you pull down a cord when you need it during the day, but when we have an event going on, you kind of like just pull, I don't know what it's called, just like retract it back.
Like the way, how blinds do.
Yeah.
Right
yeah.
back.
So it like retracts back into the ceiling. It was like crazy, all the stuff that we did in there, but it came out really cool. So I was very lucky to work on it.
So where do you get like your inspiration? Like, do you have a favorite book, magazine, Instagram maybe? I don't.
Oh,
you know,
yes.
there's so much. I know you're big on Instagram, but
yeah.
you know, where do you get your inspiration?
Definitely Instagram.
Okay.
I have a ton of stuff like bookmarked, and you can like bookmark different posts and stuff. So definitely Instagram for sure. Pinterest is a big one, but
any favorite accounts on any of those that you?
Oh, that's a good question. Right now, I love Jean Stofferson is a designer that I follow. Her work is amazing. The Fox Group is a builder out in, I believe, Texas. That's doing amazing stuff.
We'll tag them up.
Yeah,
in the
they don't know who I am.
Yeah.
These are like
they will,
like millions
they will
of followers.
After this.
So maybe if you're watching, we could be friends. Yeah, I mean, I follow a lot of designers and builders, but builders are probably more of the ones that inspire me, because I feel like it's just cool to watch someone take an idea and actually create it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I design it, but to watch someone actually like with a piece of wood create a crazy 5-piece, crown molding out of just like a drawing, I think that's really incredible. So yeah, those are like 2 or 3 of my favorites.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So if somebody's came to you, they're trying to redesign either their house, their kitchen, they have a design project coming up. But what advice do you have for people in that scenario?
Hire me. Okay. I would say the biggest piece of advice I can give someone is to start with an objective. So don't just walk into a project and say, you know what, I just want to design my home because I want it to be pretty. Like, what do you want your home to say about you? How do you want your home to feel, or how do you want that space? It doesn't even have to be your home. How do you want that space to feel when you walk into it? What is the story that you are trying to tell people when they walk into a room? And I think a lot of people start with an inspiration image on Pinterest, or they'll send me like, oh, I love Chip and Joanna Gaines, like shiplap. Like that's all well and good, but that's Chip and Joanna Gaines. Like that's not
shiplap's like the biggest thing.
Henry. So, I think there's, we all kind of take inspiration from different places, and I do the same. Like I'll start with inspiration images, of course, but before I even get into the inspiration images, I'm asking those hard questions of like, what's your happy place? Like when you have a day off from work, where do you go? How do you spend it? Is it at a really cool hotel lounge? Is it, drinks with friends? Is it, are you home, like in your pajamas, reading a book in the corner? Like, is that your happy place? Well, if you're doing a bedroom, or you're doing some sort of area where we have the opportunity to do maybe a reading nook, maybe that's an area where it's an escape for you, and we can do that.
So function's also huge in the way that you kind of look at it with people, like how they're going to live in that space.
100%, yes.
Makes sense. So that may have answered this question, but if not, let me know. How do you kind of look at separating yourself from other designers, and why should somebody work with Downtown Decorators versus?
That's a good question. So, I think there's a lot of us, obviously. I think what I thought was always a weakness of mine has turned into a strength when I talk to clients or when I'm interviewing for a project, in that I don't have the formal background in interior design, where I didn't go to like 4 years of school and things like that. And I think that's a benefit, because I'm not beholden to a lot of the rules that kind of come with an education like that, or come with that upbringing. I mean, I definitely think school is, the best way to go, and something I would have loved to do. It just didn't happen to be the route that I took. But I think my background in advertising and client management and product management and managing that aspect of it has been such a key thing for me, so that when I get to a client, sure, a design is great, and we're all, we can all be creative, and all of us have design that we think is good, but if you can't execute on that design, or if your client has not been happy with the way that you're executing, and you're not following up in a timely manner, you're not keeping them accountable on a weekly basis for their budget, you're not letting them know in a timely manner of shipping delays or any issues. If you're not communicating with your client, if you're not, treating it as a project that you are managing, then a lot of that just kind of falls by the wayside. It's like, yeah, she did a great job and my space is beautiful, but it was so difficult to get there.
Yeah.
And I don't ever hear that from my clients because like we are strategic partners in this, and that's the background that I take from advertising, in that, I'm so used to having client status meetings and having a timeline and things like that. That's kind of what I take from my background, having not have gone to school for design, but having, been in the streets, if you will, doing other stuff. So that's kind of my differentiating factor, is that
So you make the project flow clean.
Yes, that is my number one. Like, we can have a great design, but I get it done.
Yeah, so. That's awesome. Well, so we work with a lot of builders, right, and like new construction.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you do, but that is literally the number one thing with them, because every day is money, essentially, 100%, right? When you're working on just a normal, residential, like, doing some kind of renovation.
Yeah.
It's not as, everybody still wants to get back in their house and be able to live their way.
Right.
But it's not as time constraint, but like when you do construction, that's huge. So I can imagine, like, in
and it's just like living in contractor dust too.
Exactly.
Like, I get it. I went through it. It was terrible, and all I wanted to do was, like, at the end of the day, I was like, I don't even care what we're doing with the paint colors. Just get it up on the wall. Like, I'm done. So I don't.
Out of my house.
I try. Every project gets. I'm sure there's things that are just out of your control, and it is what it is, but you should just constantly be making sure that your client is having the best experience with you throughout that whole process. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, well, Jaclyn, I appreciate it. That
thank you
great.
for having me. This was fun.
So last question.
Yeah.
Where can everybody find you? What's the best way for them to get in contact with you if they are interested in doing it?
Yeah, so Instagram is probably the best way to contact me. I'm super active on that, as you know.
Yeah, yes, you are.
I have a website that's been in staging for like 6 months, so that's coming, but definitely Instagram. And
what's your Instagram?
It's Downtown Decorators.
All right.
At Downtown Decorators. Yeah.
At Downtown Decorators.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that's Jaclyn Isaacs, and that's Downtown Decorators. And if you guys are interested in contacting her, at Downtown Decorators on Instagram. So have a good one. I'm Digital Home Henry Johnson, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.